Welcome to Yoga 77. My name is Jackie. Today we're going to be working through a yoga flow that brings a little bit more focus into the knees. So this is a great one to take if you have any knee pain or any niggles in your knees, you're recovering from an injury. This practice will help you to bring more awareness to your knees, how everything is connected. We'll be focusing on knee stability and knee mobility, as well as knee strength. So we're going to take this in a standing position, the whole flow. We won't be coming down onto our mats. And you might like to have a chair or a wall or a kitchen bench nearby, as we will be coming into some balance poses. So just begin by coming into a standing position. And to begin with, just start to rock forward and back on your feet. So I might stand to the side so you can see this. And again, you can take this movement with your hands on your chair. So just rocking onto the balls of your feet and then onto the heels. And you can keep a little bend through the knees, a little softness. Right, start to come up a little higher. Nice. And then just take movement side to side. So taking the weight into one foot and then the other. Just noticing how that feels. Nice. And just start to reach down to the side with this movement. So just adding a little bit of a lateral or a side reach. And you might even just start to pause. So maybe just pausing when you next come to your right. Really nice. Maybe pausing for 2 to 3 breaths here. And then take it to the left. Again, pausing for 2 to 3 breaths. Just come back into that movement. And then start to bring a little bend into each knee. So it's like you're starting to pick one heel at a time off your mat. And then start to bring your knees a little higher by coming more up onto the balls of your feet, onto your toes. Nice. And then you can slow this movement down. And start to work with a little bit more awareness. Bring your hands to your hips. And see if you can start to even out your hips and your pelvis a little. So really just focusing on the lower legs now. Focusing on lifting each heel. Seeing how high you can come up onto your toes. Again, you might be taking this with a hand on your chair. You might take a little pause with one foot lowered, then the other. Nice. And then next time you bring your right leg forward, you're going to reach up with your left arm. And then when you switch, left leg with your right arm. And we switch again and switch again. So keep going with this new movement. So taking opposite leg up with the opposite arm going up. And then it's a switch. Nice. Now the add-on here, if you wish, is to start bringing your foot off the mat. So you might begin just by coming up onto the toes. Really nice. And you might then begin to lift your foot off the ground. And just keep going with this movement. Again, that can also be taken using the chair. So opposite arm, opposite leg. And you can use the chair to bring your hands down onto, a little bit of help with the balance. Or you might be challenging yourself to try the movement without the chair. You might just be bringing your fingertips down just to the edge, just so it's there for a little bit of support. Nice, and you might start to bring the knees a little higher, or you might be working with the legs quite low. Maybe just give me 2 or 3 more of these. And then next time your right leg is up in front of you, feel free to drop a little higher. You might bring your right hand behind the back of your right leg. Nice, and you can keep your left hand on the chair if that's working for you. Otherwise, you might even bring your left hand to your heart center. It's coming into a little bit of balance here. Just noticing that standing leg, that stabilization through the lower leg, crossing over the knee, through the upper leg into the hip. You might notice little wobbles here. Really nice. And then just let that leg soften a little. Really nice. And then start to bring some movement into that lower leg. And so circling with your lower leg. See if you can let that lower leg be heavy. Circling one way, then the other. You might circle out through your foot, your ankle. Nice, and then start to make more of a circling motion through your hip. Circling one way and then the other, so circling through the right hip. Circling clockwise, anti-clockwise. You might start to bring the right knee over your midline. You might bring your right knee out wider. Again, just notice your range of movement here. If you find an interesting spot, you might stay a little longer. Just checking in with your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. No tension has snuck in. Really nice. And then as you're ready, just let that go and come back into a pause. Come back into mountain pose and close your eyes down or soften your gaze. And I just want you to scan through one side of your body and then the other. Notice if there's any differences. Just another 2 breaths here. And then as you're ready, come back into that movement that we took at the beginning. So again, we're going to bring the right leg up with the left arm. And then switching over. Nice, and just keep going with this. Just coming back into that crossover movement, opposite arm, opposite leg. Creating a little bit more length, noticing that stability again through the standing leg. Almost like a lifting up and out from just above your kneecap. So really firing up those muscles in the leg to give you that stability. Really nice. And then again this time, you're going to let the left leg come up. Again, you might have one hand above the head. You might have the other hand at your heart center. A hand on your chair, if it's nearby. Might come a little closer. Or you might have a go with bringing both arms up and overhead. Again, just checking in with your breath. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose if that's available to you. And then as you are ready, if arms are up, floating them down, you might bring your hand behind your leg, but just allow the leg to come down a little and just bring in those circles through the lower leg. Circling one way, then the other. Notice any interesting spots. Circling through your foot, your ankle. Really nice. And then as you are ready, again, you might start to make circles with the left hip. Circling one way, then the other. Again, you might bring the knee further across your midline. Just notice how that feels through the IT band. Bringing it out wider. And just be really curious here. When you take these movements, you might come to a particular spot that you notice. If you've got an injury, you notice that injury being a little bit more niggly, a little bit more fussy. Just telling you something. The body has a very clever way of communicating with us, and sometimes just moving a little slower can help us to bring more awareness. Really nice. And then just let that go. And bring your feet a little wider, and we're just going to rinse it out, coming into a sideways movement. Just flowing it out. And you can make this again as big as you like or as little as you like. So just really check in with how your knees are feeling. You might feel like bending a little bit more through your knees. Almost like thinking of your knees as that natural suspension. So allowing a little bounce, a little springing up and off. They're giving you energy, almost like you're lubricating through the knee joints. Nice. Just need a few more of these. Might even take a big breath in through your nose and sigh it out through the mouth. One more of those if that works. And then just slowing that down. Again, coming back into stillness, a moment of pause. Noticing any sensations in your body, any tingly, any energy. Maybe again any differences from one side to the other. And then we're going to add on with that movement. So I'm just going to turn to the side. So the same thing that we did before, bringing the right leg up and the left arm up, and then switching over. So just slowing it down a little now. Remembering you've always got the option to take this with the hand on the chair. Oh, I've got the wrong arm. There we go. Got it. So just switching one arm to the other. And then next time your right leg comes forward, you're going to, instead of bringing it straight down, you're going to bring it back. Nice. So we're going to touch down with the toes. As you bring it back up, your left arm up. And then it's a switch. Really nice. So as your right leg comes forward, left arm comes up. And then the arm switch as the leg goes back. Nice. Now you might invite an inhale as you rise, and exhale as you take that leg back. Right leg, left arm. Arm switch as the right leg goes back. Again, it might be an inhale and an exhale. So you might be moving faster or slower than me. Check in with that standing leg. Check that you are not gripping with your toes. Notice the stability through that standing leg. And try and find somewhere to focus your gaze, bringing a sense of strength and stability through your whole body. Almost a sense of drawing yourself in and up, drawing everything into center, and then keeping that length right to the crown of the head. Really nice. Let's take another 2 or 3 of these. Again, it might be an inhale as that leg comes up. Exhale as it comes back. Nice. And then as you are ready, invitation is to come into that balance. So keeping the right leg raised, you might bring both arms up overhead. I'm just going to turn so that you can see me. So again, I am mirroring everything. Hopefully I get it the right way around. So with that right leg raised, you've got a couple of options. Leaving arms above the head. You might bring a hand onto your chair. And then from here, see if you can really notice that strength through your quad, the front of this top leg. And then start to bring that front leg towards straight. Now you might not want to straighten your leg. Your knee might be saying no. Options, lower the leg, keep bringing it out straight or towards straight. It might not come straight. Really nice. And then you might bring that leg up, maybe. So be very, very mindful through this movement, but just finding your balance pose. See if you can keep the activation through the quad. Keep the right foot flexed so the toes are drawing towards you, and you can have a bend in that leg. Really nice. The standing leg also. Notice, have you got a slight bend in that knee? Really nice. Maybe another 2 to 3 breaths here. And you can always lower that foot back down, Keep the activation if you can, even noticing the core, the lower back, the pelvis, bringing in stabilization. And then when you're ready, see how slowly you can float down. See if the hands and the foot can land at about the same time. And then come straight into stillness here. Scan through your body. Notice one leg and then the other leg. One knee, the other knee. You might notice one knee feels lower than the other. One leg might feel longer or lighter. Your hips might feel different. Just really check in. Let's take another breath or two here. Noticing those sensations through your body. Nice. And then as you're ready, blinking eyes open, and we're going to take that all again on the second side. So again, we'll start with the movement of just bringing the knees up. So start by bringing your left leg up with the right arm. And then again, just switching, bringing the left leg up. No, right, I was right. Right leg and left arm. And then switching. Really nice. So opposite leg, opposite arm. Nice. Again, you might be taking this option with hands on your chair. Hand up at a time. Nice. And then when you next have your left leg raised, right arm is up. Again, we're going to be drawing the left leg back as our arms switch. Almost a slight reaching forward here too. So you're noticing the length through the back of that back leg. Really nice. And then as it comes back up, switch your arms. Nice. So it goes back, bringing it up and forward. It might be an exhale as you draw back. Inhale as you rise up. Keep going with this. You can be moving faster, slower. So left leg, right arm rising. And then switching arms as that same leg goes back. Really nice. And just checking in any differences on this side. Starting to notice the back of your left leg beginning to fire up through the hamstrings as you draw it back, and then using the quads to lift the leg as it comes forward. Again, a couple more of these. And again, as you are ready, coming into your balance. And so again, I will turn. You're going to have your left leg in front. Again, you might opt to have one hand up overhead. You might prefer your arms down. You might like a hand on your chair. You might like to bring both arms up overhead. Really up to you here. Wherever you are, just finding your focus, finding stillness, softening through your shoulders. Noticing that quad muscle really working. See if you can keep the left foot flexed. Really nice. And so everything is active here. Notice your standing foot, just soften through the toes, checking the toes aren't gripping. Maybe a couple more breaths here if you can, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. And then again from that leg towards to bring it down, lower. Flexing through. So still an element of balance. All very, very active. You can take that same movement with the heel right down on the floor. Still a bit of balance there. Or you might be playing with bringing that leg a little higher. And really think about pushing out through the sole of your left leg. You might again have a hand on your chair. Really nice, just breathing through it, breathing your breath into those areas where you notice the sensation the most. And then just quietly let that go. Bring the arms down if they're up high. See if the arms and the foot can land at the same time. Again, come into your pause. Into stillness, just to notice. Let that all go. Nice, and then as you are ready, start to, if your eyes are closed, blink them open. Just start to take the weight again into the front of your feet, into the balls of your feet or the toes. Start to come off the heels. And then start to speed that up. So you're bringing it into a little bouncing motion. And then start to bring a little bit more of a bend into your knees. So letting the ankles bend, the knees, even the hips, noticing that flexion through those areas, through your joints. You might allow the fingers to be soft and floppy, the arms, the shoulders. And then you might start to come up a little higher. You might start to notice that your feet are coming off the ground and you're bringing it into a bounce. Just keep going with this. And just see how floppy you can make everything, your jaw, shoulders and arms. And 3, and 2, and then slowing it down. Just keep that little bounce, just the heels coming. And just slowing that down. Come back into your mountain pose. Just taking another 2 to 3 breath rounds here. Just noticing how you feel. Come back to noticing that beautiful length that you're creating, running from the soles of your feet up through the strength of your knees, running right up through your hips, your pelvis, right through your heart center, running right the way up your spine to the crown of your head. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your evening. Go well. Namaste.